Hey, Carlos, what do you got there?
A little bit of cash. What I made on my last wholesale deal.
Oh, cool.
What about you?
A lot of cash. This is what I made on my last buy and hold deal. How much time you put into that deal?
Not much. What about you?
Same. I guess today it is going to be the battle for the best real estate strategy in 2023. Is it Carlos Reyes and wholesaling and flipping, or is it Kris Krohn with buy and hold? Let's find out.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Tell you what, it is a crazy year for real estate. Look at what's been going down, dude. We've got the Fed who have hiked up the interest rates. We've got real estate prices that are still on the rise. They're hitting records. And yet since 2008, we currently have less inventory in the market than we've ever had before. The media is making it sound like real estate's gonna blow up and it's gonna be the worst thing ever. Guys like us, we cannot get our hands on enough real estate, and it begs this question. It's 2023. What then is the best strategy in all of real estate? Well, it might be what this man does, which is crushing it in the game of wholesaling. Might be what I do in some of the buy and hold. And at the end of this video, you're gonna figure out who the winner is. All right, check it out. If you're not a subscriber and you're a little behind the times on what do you guys mean by wholesaling and buy and hold, well, I'm gonna have Carlos explain what wholesaling is. I'll explain a little bit what buy and hold is.
Wholesaling, well, you find an off-market discounted property, right? Then the wholesaler puts that property under contract with the homeowner. You also then have to find an interested investor that wants to buy that property. The wholesaler assigns their rights in the contract to the buyer at a higher price than the price contracted with the homeowner, the seller, and you keep the difference. In my opinion, it's the lowest risk and the most creative way to do real estate.
So what Carlos is basically saying is you find a really good deal below market value, you get it under contract with the person selling it, you go to an investor and say, hey, can I also give you this house at a big discount? But you're leaving a margin in the middle so that by the time the deal is done, you might walk away with $20,000 or you might walk away with $300,000.
All right, Kris, so you heard all about wholesaling. What's up with this buy and hold thing? What do you got going on?
Check it out. The term buy and hold real estate refers to a strategy investors use when they purchase property and retain it for a certain period of time. Like, hello, everyone's heard of a rental. I bought a house, I put tenants in it, I rented it. Maybe I'm the landlord, I have a property manager that's managing it. I'm getting a cash flow every month, I'm getting some tax benefits, but over time, the house is increasing in value and the tenants are getting it paid off. Ultimately, it's a long-term approach. Investing in a buy and hold real estate situation gives you the opportunity to make a larger profit, but it's down the road. It's not as quick as what you're doing here with wholesaling.
So what you're saying is, if I become a buy and hold expert, I'm gonna be rich when I'm 60.
Fighting words. So Carlos raises a really good question. There are definitely some advantages, benefits, pros of buy and hold, wholesaling. We're gonna look at those. Then we're gonna evaluate the cons because there's definitely pros and cons to each of these strategies.
Low risk money making strategy because it requires little money up front. You don't need any type of credit, so no credit score is required. No property renovation experience or effort necessary. With multiple deals, you can make a large profit in a short amount of time. With a good network of investors, you can sell a house fast, and you don't even need a real estate license.
All right, let's check out buy and hold. Some of the benefits, you can provide regular passive income. Passive meaning I don't have to put time, effort, and energy in. I can set it and forget it. One of the most common strategies for also amassing great wealth. And the longer you hold a property, the more you benefit from appreciation. You know over the last 65 years that the average annual appreciation nationwide is 4.65%. That means basically if you own a $100,000 property and it goes up 5% a year, that's $5,000. Well, if it's a $500,000 property, it's going up $25,000 every single year. And finally, there's definitely some specific tax advantages. It's taxed as an investment income, which by the way has lower capital gains tax. You can also write off repairs, maintenance, management, and don't forget, you've got someone else living in the house paying it off for you. There's definitely some disadvantages to both strategies. Carlos, tell us about the disadvantages of wholesaling.
Well, lower profit margin than other real estate investments like flipping, lease options, and other buy and hold type of strategies. Lots of research to find the right properties and cash buyers. It does take time to start earning a profit as a wholesaler. Some people also say that it's pretty unpredictable. Profit-wise, it's going to depend on the availability of the market, where you are, and how you're finding these deals.
But brother, I want you to be honest. The biggest disadvantage that I've seen over the years, because I've met many a wholesaler, and I'm like, wow, how long have you been doing that? Oh, they're like, oh, for 10 years, 15 years. I'm like, wow, how much money have you made? Millions of dollars. I'm like, cool, what do you have to show?
Yep.
And they're like, well, I have nice stuff, but if I don't work, I don't get paid. And so they don't really have a portfolio when it's all
It
done
is active income, right? It's considered active income. And I would say that the biggest con and disadvantage that people aren't talking about is the fact that you are not holding properties. My biggest regret with wholesaling, transacting over 1,000 transactions, was not holding enough deals for myself.
But buy and hold also has its disadvantages. For example, you have a larger down payment generally when you're buying an investment property. Also, there's gaps in rental income if you can't find tenants. You also can have bad tenants, right? They can create some enormous damage costs. And then finally, if you're in a really bad market and you own really expensive real estate, you can lose a lot of the property's value, and you could even technically become upside down in the mortgage. Like, well, I bought it for $500,000 and my mortgage on it was for $400,000, but now it's worth $350,000. So you lost your down payment and now you're upside down. That can happen if you're also buying in the wrong price range. So there's definitely a fair share of pros and cons, but when you're working with experts, we're super interested in mitigating risks. And years ago, we both learned how to do that. How do you mitigate your biggest risks when wholesaling property?
Well, I make sure that I'm going into a market where there's a lot of cash transactions happening and where I'm going to get a pretty good return on my marketing dollars. What about you? What do you got going on?
For me, there's 324 markets that make up the United States, and I only do buy and hold in the top 5 markets. So basically, I look at the macroeconomics and I say, where's the most traffic, the biggest population, where business is moving, and where do we have a huge deficiency in real estate? So we need to build a lot. That's going to drive the prices up. So I usually win with a lot of bonus appreciation when I do things like that. Now, you might be watching this and thinking, geez, do I pick Carlos's strategy? Do I pick Kris's strategy? But you know what, Carlos, and I believe that you should consider both.
You should do both. You should actually have your active income through real estate wholesaling and invest that income into passive income, which is long-term buy and hold.
So for just a moment, I want you to imagine this. Imagine that you are making $500,000 a year, $1 million a year, more than the average person. You have 2 choices. You can increase your lifestyle, or you could do the smart thing. You could set some of that money aside and start doing some buy and hold transactions. So now you have Carlos's wholesaling strategy for making your money, which, by the way, in 20 or 30 hours a week, you don't have to work 60, 80 hours a week the way some people do. So now you're bankrolling a ton of money, and then you drop it in some buy and hold, and now you're winning by playing both. You have the option of actually picking both through something that we created called Property.
Property combines the world's most powerful real estate investment strategies with highly automated systems, enabling investors to generate active income while building legacy wealth with minimal owner involvement.
Bottom line is, it's like I get to actually get all my time back, I get to have the money, and I get to have a legacy. And if you want to learn about that, Property is a one-of-a-kind company because we take all of your experience in wholesaling that automates it. We take all of my experience from my $2 billion worth of buy and holding, and we've combined them together. And if you want to learn about it, click the link below. But I warn you, this is specifically for individuals that are very interested in not making $50,000 or $100,000 a year or replacing job income. This is for people that at least want to make $250,000, $500,000, or preferably over $1 million a year. And while to a lot of people that just sounds pie in the sky, kind of crazy, be honest with me. In the wholesaling game, if someone had access to your system and only made $300,000, how would you feel about it?
You make $300,000 using my systems and my strategies. That's telling me that you're not putting in a lot of effort. That should be like a conservative goal. I want you to shoot for millions of dollars in real estate wholesaling income. That's what we're shooting for here. So we're looking for people that have the same type of mindset.
Now listen, if you want to learn from Carlos and myself by combining these 2 super systems together, click the link below, learn about Property, and let's show you how to get the income, but also build the portfolio. In this market that we're in right now, I do not recommend that you buy a property to live in. Now is definitely the time, Carlos, to lay it down and buy as many investment properties as possible. And if you want to learn all about that, click this video. Let me show you why you shouldn't buy a house, but instead do something different in real estate.